Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Pivotal Podspective, a first with myself and my co-host,
Adrian Derwantu.
and of course I'm Elliot Brown. But our very special guest over here, we're going to move over a little bit over here. And this is
April Williams.
our guest, yoga for mindful emotional intelligence extraordinaire, Aprile Williams.
Thank you.
We cut them short there. Sorry about that, Aprile. How are you? How are you this morning? You're there. It's morning there in sunny Florida, isn't it?
Afternoon. It's 4 o'clock.
Oh, it's 4 o'clock. My time zones are really crap, aren't they? Really bad. Although we had somebody on from Australia last week? Was she Australia?
Yes,
and it was which she couldn't work out. She was surprised it was morning here when it was evening there. But anyway,
The other way.
Whatever.
It was morning there, evening here. But
yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Listen, if you're listening to this, then you won't necessarily see it, but both Adrian and myself are in the studio together here in the Essex Business Radio studio. We are doing this together due to a small technical hitch. Maybe we'll have a little chat about that in a second because we'll ask Adrian how he's been doing. But yeah, so it's been an interesting one, Adrian, hasn't it, the last couple of days?
Oh yeah, very interesting. But yeah, let's talk about that later.
He's had some of my luck. Anyway, April, listen, in sunny Florida. So you are a yoga for mindful emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence we talked about before we start recording. A big thing that you're in life is involved in. You've always been involved with. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and your business and what you're creating right now.
Sure. So I'm creating corporate wellness workshops on emotional intelligence, and they're enhanced by yoga and mindfulness. So based on research that I've completed from my doctoral studies, yoga and mindfulness really enhance people's use of emotional intelligence. And really emotional intelligence in layman terms is self-awareness. So being aware of your own and others' emotions based on body language, tone of voice, almost like common sense, but a little bit deeper.
If people are sensitive, does that mean that they're more sensitive to the emotional intelligence, or is that because their concentration on particular types of emotional intelligence are wrong?
Depends on
I'll have that question.
the type. If you're self-conscious, that's one thing. But if you're just sensitive to being talked to, or an introvert, that's a whole different level of emotions.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an introvert on Adrian.
No way.
Yeah,
This is all of that. It's all the front to this. And so you're doing these yoga classes. So you're combining the yoga with the emotional intelligence. I'm assuming getting in touch with yourself to better yourself. So come on, tell us a little bit about.
Tell us what yoga is. Jiu-jitsu or MMA, Muay Thai,
or boxing.
Right, MMA would be nice. No, so I got into yoga years ago, and it took a while for me to even like it because I felt judged every time I went, and you have these people who are super flexible and I'm not. But the way it made me feel and the way it balanced me, my husband deployed 4 months after we got married. I'm a military spouse, and it was something I wasn't prepared for. I knew I was marrying into the military and that the possibility will be separated, but not 4 months later. So when he left, all the advice I was getting was keep yourself busy, just do things. And I really got into yoga then. I was teaching at a local high school, inner city high school, and it was a very stressful job. It was stressful being away from him, and the yoga just really helped. And I have a passion for yoga. I love yoga. And then I also have a passion for emotional intelligence. And I didn't want to just throw away my degree because I have so much student debt now. I wanted to find a way to put it all together. So that's where I came up with yoga.
Worthwhile for sure.
Yeah. So
And you're getting some great response, aren't you? You're getting some really good feedback from the people you're doing this with, and sort of piloting it and testing everything that you're doing right now, which is the best way to do it, of course. And you're getting great feedback from it, aren't you? They're getting a lot of success in sort of focusing slightly differently. I mean, tell us how that sort of changed things for
So my participants for the pilot workshop, I had to make the workshop online due to COVID. So I figured, since I'm doing it online and it's all videos and it's self-paced, let me get people from different industries so I know which audience I want to target first, because the plan was K-12 teachers were the most stressed out people. I'm going to target them. I'm going to offer as a professional development workshop, but maybe those aren't the people who need it. So I had a dean at a online school, a nurse manager at a hospital, a major city hospital, who was a physical therapist manager. So she's a physical therapist and a manager, a correction officer, a life coach. Like, I had 10 different participants from various industries, just to see how will this be relevant to your audience? Yeah. And it was, and the feedback was great.
Different types of people as well, of course. No point just going, oh, well, it's just going to work for you, because I suppose, I don't know, what's the sort of percentage of people that do yoga these days? So you tap straight into people that do yoga straight off and then link that to it? I mean, how does that work? Okay.
One person in my pilot group has ever even done yoga before.
Right.
They've never done yoga. And my very first video in the series is always beginner yoga. So it's really alignment, how to do the positions correctly, making sure they understand the movement. And then we gradually every week move into a little bit more complex and less alignment. But now you already know how to balance yourself and align yourself. So it really starts from very beginner and then moves up so that you can get a little bit more advanced in your asanas.
Have you done yoga?
Yeah, I've done about twice.
Have you?
Yeah. I hear that a lot. I've done it twice. I didn't like it.
I've been from YouTube, and it wasn't the best experience for me because I almost fell a few times, and just broke things. But I think I need a yoga for very beginners, not just beginners.
You fell a few times. I mean, I've seen it on films. I've seen it on TV. So I know people that do it, but I've never ever tried.
But also, to be honest,
I've probably tried a couple of positions, but I don't think that was in yoga. I have to be honest with you.
I never had proper yoga. Matters as well,
Do you have to have yoga pads? Does that make a massive difference?
I think, yeah.
Okay, let's ask the extraordinaire. Does it make a difference? Do you need yoga pads, or can you do it on carpet?
I don't like doing yoga on carpet because it's hard to balance. So I like the hardwood floors on a yoga mat.
What's up? Yoga pad, yoga mat.
Yeah. So I didn't have the yoga pants. That's what I said.
Yoga pants.
I always have the yoga pants. Yeah.
Is that a thing as well? Is it? Do you have the yoga pants?
There's yoga pants. Yes.
Yeah.
So they have yoga shorts on.
You know a lot about yoga. He knows a lot about a lot of things. To be fair.
I tend to be quite good, at theory, and I studied quite a lot. We slow down, but yeah.
So the link between the two, then. I mean, I'm assuming you're getting in line with your body, and does that help your mind as well? Tell me how that links. How does it link?
So it's a mind-body connection. When you're doing yoga, you have to be self-aware of your body. But at the same time, yoga is not just an exercise of the body, it's an exercise of the mind. So you're breathing through your poses. Okay. And let's say, can you do a plank? How long can you do a plank for? Let's say 2 minutes. So you're holding a plank for 2 minutes, your whole body starts shaking. Yeah. Because you're just using your whole body strength, right? And to get past the shaking, you connect with your breath, and you ensure that you're inhaling and exhaling for the same count. Right. And then you connect with your breath, and everything else just kind of calms with you. Okay. It's almost like Lamaze. When a woman's going through labor, they're doing a Lamaze breathing, and it helps them with the pain. Right. Same thing with yoga.
Okay.
Well, we haven't been through that yet.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. You'll never have to go through that. It's very painful.
Okay. So how then do you apportion that? Do you then work in addition to doing the yoga and then getting yourself? Do you then work in addition to that to how you then apportion that to your life and your workplace to help you sort of level up?
Or it's yoga more like an opening? I don't know, just the first phase where you kind of get people connected in a better way, or you make them open more for whatever is going to come next?
Well, yoga is really great for stress management. And you think about it, and the workplace is very, very stressful, very, very demanding. And how do you get through a really stressful day, or a really demanding boss, or maybe there's a colleague that you're not getting along with, or just piles and piles of work on your desk. You look at it and you get really overwhelmed. And when you think of yoga off the mat, that's really connecting with your inner self to learn how to stay calm and how to balance and manage stress. Through your breathing exercises, and that's where the mindfulness comes in. But you can also do twists and inversions at your desk. So even me sitting at my desk now, if I were to just twist to the side.
Okay.
I'm standing up. Does it make any difference?
You can do it standing. Yes.
Okay.
Just twist. You're opening anything that's tightening in your spine and releasing the parasympathetic system.
Yeah. So if I'm not that I have been to the gym a lot, to be fair, but
I'm sounding nerdy now,
but I tend to do quite a lot of stretches. Does that help? No,
what is it?
I do a lot of stretches when I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to train, go for a run and stuff like that. So I tend to do sort of all that. So does that mean I'm doing yoga then?
Yes.
A simple form
in
of
a sense, because you're preparing your body for what's to come. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, listen, I get stressed. I'm a bit of a stress head, aren't I?
Yeah, but he also enjoys that. So
I do not enjoy the stress. I definitely don't enjoy the stress. I do these shows to de-stress. I mean,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Listen, it's easier listening to other people and how they do things and learning from that than it is to think about all the stuff that's going on around us normally. It's a good time to get away from everything and have a chat. I think so. Release. But I listen. A few people have said to me that I should do yoga and that I should meditate as well, because they think that would sort a lot of my shit out.
I think not just you. I think loads of other people. But yeah.
Well, no, they didn't just say I'm the only person who's got to do it. But
but in general, people should do that.
But meditate as well.
Yes.
Do you meditate, Aprile?
I do. So mindfulness is a type of meditation. I don't get deep into my meditations. I don't do more than 10 minutes. I can't. I'm sure I can if I tried, but I don't have the mental capacity to sit for 30 minutes in silence and listen to my own breathing, and not for me.
Yeah, definitely. Although I do fancy trying both. I mean, I've literally in the last couple of weeks had said that I told you the other day. I definitely want to be looking to do some meditation for sure. I haven't done anything about that yet, by the way. And I'm only being honest, because I'm not going to bullshit and go, oh yeah, I've been meditating. So I do it all the time now. I don't.
See, everyone thinks it's this.
I know. I'm doing this for the purpose of the camera. To be fair, listening this is I basically put my fingers and my fingers out as if I'm a Buddha.
Yeah.
You're
just mocking all the people.
I'm mocking. I do apologise if I've offended anybody. It was purely unintentional.
He doesn't know any other pose for yoga, so that's why.
Yeah, not in yoga. I do yoga pose too.
So listen, before we start recording, you said that but when you started studying emotional intelligence, that you actually realized that you've utilized this in your life.
Yes.
For as long as you can remember, or until from your
it depends on my maturity level during that time.
Okay.
It takes a certain age and time period. When you're younger, you're partying and having a good time. You're not thinking about anything really, let alone emotional intelligence. But when I think about certain skills like inter and intrapersonal skills, self-esteem, stress management, when those things are off, it because they're affecting your life in so many different ways. So had I learned about my emotional intelligence earlier in life and how to balance it, I think I would have been a lot better off a lot sooner. But now that I know about it, I know when to tap into certain areas and certain skills to keep myself level, to not go off on strangers who decide not to wear a mask in the store and then look at me like I'm crazy. It's just different things that really keep me level-headed, so to speak.
And is it that bad over there? Is that what you get if people aren't wearing a mask?
There's like 16,000 new cases a day in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I'm working with someone in LA, and he told me he went jogging about 2 days ago. It was 6 a.m. in the morning, no one on the streets, just him and a lady on the other side, of the road, walking her dog. and he wasn't wearing a mask because there was no one there, you know.
No,
And
I won't wear a mask.
saying that he's a traitor.
Really?
And he used to put a mask on, otherwise they'll call the police. He's traitor of
Really?
what have I done? Yeah, exactly. He
Wow.
just wouldn't.
Wow.
Is it so?
No.
I mean, we're only putting. I think it's the 24th that they're making people wear masks going to shops. I mean, at the moment, everybody's walking around, they don't have to wear a mask, but apparently it's going to be more after the 24th. Absolutely ridiculous here in the UK. We've had 4 months of this shit, and now they're telling us to put the mask on when you go to the shop.
That's a little crazy.
Yeah.
Almost like they invite you to rob the place.
What's really crazy is we just moved from Maryland to Florida, and it's a 20-hour drive.
Okay.
And on our drive down, we stopped at a rest stop, and in Maryland, you have to wear, like, masks have been mandatory since like March.
Really?
And coming to the South, we stopped at a rest stop that had a McDonald's in it, and there's like about 60 people in there, and I was the only one with a mask on.
Wow.
And I'm looking around like, what are these people doing? And they're looking at me like I'm crazy because I have a mask on. I was like, whoa, I'm getting out of here.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, literally, I've got some because I've got to go into London tomorrow. But we don't. I mean, not being funny, we don't really go outside of these walls. To be fair, we've been basically self-isolated, as we talked about, for a couple of years anyway. So so no massive impact to our lives, and I know there's been to a lot to others, and I'm not dismissing that at all.
Yeah.
Let's get off the subject of that.
Yeah.
But apart, the reason I wanted to get onto that, in fact, was because in lockdown, you've sort of moved everything, ahead, and I mean, I'm intrigued. Do you feel you've moved it ahead quicker and got more impact with what you're doing because of what's been going on over the last sort of 4 or 5 months?
Yes, because I have the time. I'm home all the time.
Yeah.
The only thing that was difficult was the move, because we moved out of state and then had to get settled, and it was just a couple of weeks of dead time.
Right.
But really being able to write the workshop and write I'm working on 2 additional workshops to add to my menu, so to speak, and adding research and networking. I think it's put me in a good position to launch the company, like a hard launch and market.
Right.
And that's my plan in the next couple of weeks, is to really get word out that I'm here, that I can tailor it to an online program if you need me to. I can teach yoga online. I can teach the meditation, the coaching online, everything. Or self-paced. You can just go ahead and do it on your own time if you're interested.
Right.
So it's really just getting word out at this point, because everything else is done, like all the hard stuff.
I just wanted to say, I know you've asked maybe how things started and all this, but can you give us some examples for our listeners to understand exactly how this would work? And just tell us
how the workshop would work.
Yeah, or exactly the yoga and the mindful education and all that.
You've got
the emotional intelligence, exactly.
So you've got stress reduction, improved mental health, increased focus, higher motivation,
stress management,
more productive stress management. But it doesn't suddenly just do that, surely. Is that what you're sort of saying? It's not going to suddenly just start doing yoga and suddenly you are like everything's solved.
Yeah, but
right.
Like the type of people that came in there, because you said about some people who are a regional manager or nurse regional manager and a few other. So what type of stress they had and why they decided to do this and how it helped them. So that will be really useful to be honest to know.
Right. So one of the main stresses of job is being overworked, really overworked, underpaid, underappreciated. So that high stress from work is alone. Yeah. And then relationships with your coworkers. So, just managing relationships as a manager, especially, or as a leader, you have to have those strong relationships. Yeah. And when you're talking about interpersonal skills for emotional intelligence, you're talking about assertion, aggression, and deference. So assertion is when you can speak up for yourself. I guess you come across very confident and you speak up for yourself. You don't let people walk all over you. Aggression is when you come at people real mean and demanding. And you see that a lot in movies where there's bosses that are very aggressive. And then deference is really being walked all over. Right. So letting people push you over, saying, I'm sorry for everything. Like, oh, I'm sorry to bother you, but take that sorry out and be more assertive. Hey, I'm bothering you because I need this right now. Not, I'm sorry I'm bothering you. So there's a difference there. And that's just interpersonal skills. So if you're a manager and you're aggressive, you're not going to have very good relationships with your employees. They're not going to feel comfortable coming to you and talking to you about concerns they have.
Of course.
But if you're more assertive, then yes, you know things need to get done, but you're open to hearing other people's ideas to get it done.
Mm.
And so that's just one example.
Yeah, so that could definitely help people deliver things correctly. I mean, it's a bit of understanding the person you're speaking to and being, I suppose, conscious of the way they react means that you can deliver something in a slightly different way.
Right.
Okay.
And being prepared for how they react. You know, I can look at a person's facial expression, the way they're breathing, and really it takes all 5 seconds to scan somebody for, you know, emotional intelligence or interpersonal, to see where they are.
Really?
You know, if you're coming at me and your eyebrows are put together and you look angry, you're mad. I can see that.
Can you do that on a Zoom call or on an video podcast as well? What can you tell about us two? Can you do that? Can you do that from there?
I can try. It's more of a communication approach.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, but then there is a difficulty in doing that, and I think there's quite a few people. I mean, that's an area I would think would be a really good area for you to look at developing as well, because this is growing a huge amount now. Obviously,
right?
Interviews. We've already had somebody on that we chatted to probably a few weeks ago, or maybe I spoke to them and they're doing the other podcast. Maybe I can't remember now.
Someone.
And what they've been doing is they'd actually been working with people to help them to do interviews and things through video, because you're not getting that feedback straight away. You're not necessarily getting the same. Well, you can feel things in a room with somebody, can't you?
The energy.
I already way prefer doing this side by side with Adrian. Is more reaction. There's no different. There's a reaction us being on the screen, but it is. You know, you feel that, don't you? So that with the world changing, do you think there's a slightly different way of working with people so they can maybe get over stuff like that? Because that must cause a bit of anxiety. Not everybody likes videos, stuff like that. I'm trying to bring it into maybe a format that people might be, when they're watching this, is think, how could I implement what you're saying, and so to on what you do. In what they're doing in every day in the new world of business, so to speak. Do you understand? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. So if you think about the format of the workshop, the first half of the workshop is emotional intelligence. So you're going to take your emotional intelligence assessment so that you learn all of your skills and know what the heck am I talking about during the whole workshop. Because if you don't know your skills, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But part of that is really being able to adapt to change. And we're going through huge change. Everything is video now. Everything is Zoom or StreamYard, whatever it might be that we're using to connect with others. And it's really hard because you don't have, again, you don't feel the energy in the room. I can't tap your shoulder and be like, hey, it's okay. I can't shake your hand right now. So it's very different, in a different time, different place than where we've ever been. But the workshop is about learning about yourself and learning about those skills and then how to apply them. So if you don't know what they are or how they relate to your life, how are you going to use them? So the first step is really learning the skills and then understanding, applying them and modeling them for others. And that's what the workshop teaches you to do. And the online format is great because the videos inform you. And then you have reflective journals that you're answering questions about yourself.
Okay.
I can't answer those questions about you.
Of course, yeah.
It's really that digging deep into who you are.
Listen, I've got an interesting question for you. Empathy. How the hell do you teach somebody to be empathetic? I mean, not being funny.
That's a difficult one because my husband lacks empathy.
and I've been told I do, to be fair. I think although I do cry X Factor sometimes. Does that make me better? you get those emotional moments.
Sensitivity, not empathy.
Catch you unawares, and it's like, what the hell am I doing? I've got like tears running down my cheek. This is not me. I've clearly opened up a sensitive side that I should have just left shut and locked away somewhere. But it is an interesting one. I mean, how do you get people that particularly entrepreneurs, business people that are focused on doing what they do? And I'm virtually speaking for myself here. And sometimes you just expect people to maybe be following and knowing what you're talking about and things like that. And it becomes a bit difficult to be empathetic at times. And you struggle with it a little bit, don't you?
Me with both Virgos,
We're both Virgos,
like So I kind of find myself exactly in the things that he said. I'm the same. So I don't really care X Factor, but
That's so funny.
You're younger than
exactly,
me.
yeah. But I have things like that where I'm way more empathetic with people I never met or never know, or they're struggling with some things than with the people that I know.
Yeah. And you get that in a working and business environment, in a life
You
environment,
do.
in a family environment, don't
yeah.
you? So that how do you work with that? I mean, I'm giving you a really difficult question here, but I think it's quite an interesting one, because I don't know how the hell to become empathetic. You're right. I'm more empathetic with people that I don't know.
Yeah.
When people you do, you sort of think, really?
And you can talk to them any which way and they get it, because they know your personality, and you can't do that with just anyone.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Familiarity breeds contempt, doesn't it? Isn't that the terminology?
What was it?
Familiarity breeds contempt.
Yes. That's very true. Because people can take offense to the way you say things or things you say in general, and they just don't know that's just how you are. It's your personality.
Yeah.
And I skate that line, or I used to skate that line as a teacher, and it's an odd place to be, because they don't understand my personality of how I am and who I am.
Yeah.
So empathy is really a leadership skill, and it's being able to understand others. So think about the difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy, you've been there, you know how it feels. Empathy is, if I was in your shoes, how would I feel?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's difficult to teach. Again, it's self-reflective. Everything is a self-reflective process. If I give you a video to watch of a boss demeaning his employer, I'm asking you to pay attention to the employer, and how would you feel? How would you react if you were that person? Realistically, knowing you can't go off on your boss, you lose your job. And that's where the empathy comes in, is really making people uncomfortable, saying, hey, you're in this position, or you put someone in this position. How do you think they made them feel? And a lot of people have that attitude of, I don't care how it made them feel. That's not their problem. Well, it will be if you don't have an employer to help you anymore.
They don't go the extra mile that they were doing before you spoke to them like that. And I'm saying this from experience. I've done it. I've barked at people. I think
we've all done it at some point, let's be honest. I think we've all done it.
I think we all have been there.
And it does knock. I mean, I've had it done to me. It knocks your confidence. You don't perform as well. So it's actually counterproductive. Where you're trying to maybe get a point across is massively counterproductive. Certainly me reflecting on it now, Adrian. Don't look at me like that. Maybe I don't.
But you reflect on it. You know you've done it, right? And you feel bad about it afterwards. That's what tells you what type of person you are. Is, I may have snapped at this person, and I'm not going to apologize because it'll make me look weak. But you did it, and you might not do it again because of it.
I'm in a firm mindset that I believe that actually apologizing in the right way, you have to term it right. But if you make an apology in a particular way,
you mean not to sound
at
weak,
least,
probably.
I think it's a good thing.
I've done a mistake, so
I apologize for maybe going a little bit over the top. However,
you always throw a butt in there, right? Once you put a butt in there, it's no longer an apology.
I'm jesting. Slightly. It depends who it is. Just very quickly, let me just move the mic over here a little bit, because we are in here. So let's go. Mum, hi, Mum. Jesus Christ, my mother spelled my name wrong. Thanks, Mum.
Thank you, Elliot's mum. My name is correct. Yeah, thank you for that.
And I think she's saying that it's nice to see you back on Facebook, Adrian.
Sorry, I've been on.
Say hello to my mum. And then
Mum.
And then we've got Rosanna Catalano, who's from Rocket Ship. Was it Rocket Ship Consultants? Is that right? I believe it is. I hope I've got that right. She's asking whereabouts you are in Florida.
I'm in the Tampa area, so southwest Florida. Sorry.
Very, very nice indeed. I can't wait to be traveling again and stuff like that. And I've never been to Florida, but I believe Disney World is open back up again, right?
They are.
I've been to Florida, Orlando,
making a killing on masks.
Well, there's definitely some strong feelings on these places opening back up, but anyway, that's not what this show is about.
As long as people are happy, that's all that matters. I suppose if they were, they're happy, even if they might die, but it doesn't matter,
I mean, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I do fancy going to the old Star Wars part of that.
Harry Potter.
Do you know what I think about Harry Potter? No way. Are you
That's Universal.
Are you a Star? Right. Are you Star Wars or Harry Potter or anything like that? You into anything like that? No.
Minions.
My stepdaughter and my husband are into Harry Potter, and we went to Universal for Thanksgiving last year, Universal Studios, and they have Harry Potter World.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. Amazing. I don't even know the movie, and it was amazing.
I swear to God, I could not put myself through it. I don't. If I'm,
that's just because he's jealous and he lacks empathy. That's why.
Yeah, it's the complete lack of empathy that does it. Yeah,
he must have been hurt by Hermione at some point in his life.
I don't even know. I don't even know what that is, but probably.
It's a guarantee.
He's gonna have to take her to the workshop.
we probably need to be fair. So empathy, I think we've covered that, and I think it's quite interesting. I think, listen, there's definitely people to struggle with out there. I mean, I know what people are like, and I thought it was a good way to sort of to ask that.
But to ask you your personal opinion, actually, Gary Vee is talking a lot about empathy. I'm not sure if you're following Gary Vee, April.
Gary Lee?
Gary Vaynerchuk.
No. It says, unless he's in the Emotional Intelligence Network.
I thought everyone in America.
I thought everybody knew who Gary Vaynerchuk was.
I'm gonna write that down. Gary Vee.
Gary, he's huge. He's like one of the biggest online.
I don't know. I cannot really say.
I don't even know what
stuff like that. But he has a digital media company, marketing company, stuff like that, and he grew businesses and things. But he always talks about empathy and the way how he treats people and those kind of things, and how he. I don't know. He was poor when he was a child, but actually, he still made money when he was a child. But he had a difficult life, and then he grew up and became who he is now.
And now he's absolutely smashing it.
Exactly.
You know who Grant?
I'm hoping to grow up and smash it too. We'll see.
Yeah, I've grown up and we had to smash it, but I keep growing up though. Apparently, well, no, actually, I don't. I do. So listen, going back to the empathy side, and we've looked at that, and I definitely, I'd love to tap into that side. I'd love to try and be a little bit more empathetic with people. I think it might get me. I'm a fairly good reader of people. I think you are. Well, I think I am. I think we are a fairly good reader of people, but the empathy bit, I definitely lack a little bit. What do you sort of work on certain areas with certain people? So you specifically, you pinpoint certain areas that you need some strength that actually in this side you're okay, or do you sort of do a holistic approach and attack sort of every angle?
No, when you take your assessment, I have access to it, and it's totally up to the participant. So if you want me to tailor it to your needs, so let's say you need help with your interpersonal skills and your intrapersonal skills are perfect, then we won't touch the intrapersonal skills. We'll talk about how they relate to the others, but we'll really hone in on what it is you need and want. Or you could do holistic and kind of connect everything together. So it's very personalized. Now, if I'm working with a group of 20 people in a corporation, and they're all taking the assessment, then I get a group kind of like it's a data set that tells me as a group, this is the lowest skill. As a group, this is a skill that needs the most work. And then I can work on it as a group as well.
There are different situations, so you have to approach them differently. Yeah, it's definitely not a one size. I mean, it is a one size fit all if you're just learning about your emotional intelligence. But if you really want to balance your skills, I would have to personalize it for you. Okay.
Oh, we lost you a little bit. Then you back? Can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you. Yes, so we're fine.
Okay. It's a massive storm. I don't know if you hear the thunder, but
oh really?
Yeah. I lost power a couple minutes ago.
Okay,
I see. So the storm has just. I forgot that you said the storm had just started. Yeah. Are you due some heavy weather at the moment? I haven't seen the news. To be fair, what's going on?
It's Florida. We get thunderstorms for half an hour, and then it's bright and sunny again.
Oh really? Oh, okay.
What happens here?
The standard stuff. I quite like a thunderstorm. It clears the air, doesn't it? Does it get? I mean, here in the UK, does it? I mean, I don't know what it's like there, but it's pretty hot in Florida, obviously. Does it get hot, and muggy before you get thunderstorms and it clears the air? Okay, so it's pretty.
Yeah, but then the storm goes and then it's muggy all over again because it's drying everything up.
Yeah.
You just kind of take it and leave it.
So I suppose.
And you work with people all over. You're looking to work with people everywhere. I mean, if you've got a specific. You said before, I believe, that you've worked with people in lots of different businesses and lots of different sort of backgrounds and things like that, which is really important. Is
one great thing?
Go on.
Oh, sorry. The Florida Department of Corrections, I submitted my workshop to them to bring to prisons. And I
Right.
just recently, last week, actually received a letter that the program was approved through their clearinghouse. And all I have to do is reach out to wardens and bring it to the prisons that way. So it's up to the wardens to hire me to come in, but I can definitely...
Got something to say about that. Yeah. Impressive.
Yeah,
impressive. I quite like the angle you've taken on that. That's you're going to be paying back.
Yeah. And I also do voluntary yoga classes.
Are you paying for that? Or you're paying back? I don't know. I'm not sure, but
you're doing good.
You're
That's
doing
all
good.
That matters.
Yeah. So that's quite interesting. So I was just about to say, are you looking at sort of focusing in a particular area? But does that mean a lot to you to sort of maybe help people out that struggle with certain things as well, rather than just going for maybe people in business or just general, the general everyday Joe public?
No, I want to make a difference to those who need it. So as I was mentioning before, I've been through a lot in life. I was raped as a teenager, and I have a son from it. My son is 25 now. I was in a very abusive relationship and got out of it, the two actually, that almost took my life. I've never had any addictions, thank God, but I've been through a lot. And I feel like if I can give back and show people like, hey, sure, you've been through a lot of traumatic situations that led you to make certain decisions to lead you to where you are today, but that doesn't have to remain that way. Let's tap into who you really are and not the things that have happened to you. Because a lot of people use their history to hold them back. Like, oh, I've been raped. Oh, I've been abused. I filed bankruptcy. I lost my house. I was homeless. Okay, but you're not anymore.
Yeah.
And you can either be the victim or the victor. And
I love that.
That's where it really comes out that, especially young girls in abusive relationships, trying to get them to see the best version of themselves that they can find and bring that out. People who are in prisons about to come out into society who don't know how to adjust well to that change. That's really important to me. Mental health. So people with mental health issues. I have a brother who committed suicide when he was 17.
Wow.
And I feel like if he had the support to tap into his emotional intelligence and know who he is and that people around him love him, then maybe he'd still be here. And just knowing that being able to tap into yourself is really important.
Kudos to you, because that's a great story. I mean, I don't mean that a great story. It's a great story, but what I mean is
I know what you mean.
Taken, your history, which some horrific things have gone on there, and you've been through it and lived through it, and spoken very openly about it. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest, and I really respect you for being so open. And what? That gives what you do now even more weight, because you've gone through that. You're going to be in touch with emotions that you just normally aren't anyway. So to control that and understand that, I now understand why that journey has maybe brought you to where you are now. And I love the fact that you want to work with people that deserve and need the help and support, rather than going to maybe a particular genre of person that is helping with business and things like that. But I love the fact that you can apportion this to anything, I think, in life, whether it's business or whether it be you're a sports person, or you're doing what you're doing with the yoga and the emotional intelligence. I think you can put that into anybody, can't you?
Field. Yeah.
But the fact that you're in essence choosing to want to help people as well, I think that's incredible. I absolutely love that, and I love what you just said there as well.
Thanks. Yeah, I struggled because I wanted Yomi to be a nonprofit, but there's so many legal hoops to jump through, and I just was not prepared. I'd educated enough to do a nonprofit right away.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm taking the corporate angle, is to get the funding I need and to get the word out that Yomi is legitimate. And then from the corporate sector, I'm just going to tail off with Yomi for nonprofit. And I want to bring it to military bases, for soldiers with PTSD, families, especially families, because the kids get separated from their parents due to deployments or even death. And they come back, and it's just trying to reacclimate as a family. Mental health facilities, especially.
Have
So
you
there's
seen?
a lot of places I want to make a difference.
Yeah, I love it.
Fantastic. Have you seen any changes to your husband when he came back from after he was deployed?
So he was actually stationed in Bahrain.
Mhm.
So he went to Bahrain, and it wasn't a war zone.
Mhm.
And I couldn't go to the Middle East at that time. So I stayed here, and we were separated for the year, and he came back. But he's deploying in the end of August. He'll be going to Kuwait or Iraq, one or the other. So
Right.
I'll probably see a difference when he comes back. For military spouses, what's really important, and for anyone in general really who knows someone married to the military, is you're not married to a person, you're married to an organization.
Yeah.
And military men, I can't speak on women, I only know men, but really they're very strong leaders, they're very strong people, but they lack empathy, they lack compassion. And that's something that was really hard for me to get used to. That, hey, I'm sitting here crying my eyes out, sitting next to you on the couch, and you don't even put your arm around me to hold me and comfort me. Like, what is up with that? And his mentality is, well, people cry because people die, and you'll get over it, and everything will be fine. And I'm like, really?
That's when you have to be though doing that. That comes to the part of the job, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that's what
Yeah.
I ask you. You think that's more like an advantage for him in the job that he does?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that's exactly what it is. You don't want to make yourself vulnerable to the enemy, so to speak. They don't want to see your weak side. And, I think I've seen my husband cry one time in the 7 years I've known him.
X Factor or
What was that?
Comic.
Did I make him cry?
Comic timing there, Adrian. I love that. Listen, I love the links. I think it's great. I think it's massively pivotal. I do think that getting in touch with things. I'm definitely opening up to a lot more to these things right now. Maybe it's my age, experience. I don't know what it is, but I definitely am opening up to a lot of these things. And what you've said there, a lot of it rings true with me, and definitely will ring true with a lot of people listening or watching the show for sure.
And it's also seeing the fact that you're so genuine and so true about everything that you're doing. It just
love that.
Yeah, brings definitely a big boost in this. And let's be honest, people usually connect with other people in stories rather than just a training or whatever it is. So
yeah,
you can sell even other things. Doesn't matter. We like you as a person, or people like you as a person, and they like what you have to say.
Yeah. So where can everybody find you?
Yomi, YOMEI.org.
Yeah.
That's the website. It'll bring you to everything. When you go to the homepage, you can pick organizations or individual, and it will bring you to two separate web pages. So the organizations will bring you to the business information, and then the individual will be any individual services I offer, like one-on-one yoga sessions or coaching, mindfulness coaching, emotional intelligence coaching, life coaching. So there's two different sides to it, and you can get to the online course from the website as well.
Okay, cool. Socials?
Yeah, social media. Where?
Facebook.com/yomi.org, Yomi_you for Instagram, and Yomi.org for Twitter. I don't use Twitter very often though. And then there's LinkedIn. I'm Yomi and LinkedIn as well.
Okay, excellent. Well, listen, I've really enjoyed our chat. Haven't you, Adrian?
Of course, I enjoyed it. I said it. Yeah. No, it's been interesting. Like I said, it's. And we realize as well that it's always about the person and the way how they are and how they present things, and it's always nice when you have very genuine people like you. And
Thank you.
I think we both got taught a lesson definitely tonight,
Yeah.
and not just us but the listeners as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I hope so. Yeah.
I think, and I wish you all the best of luck with what you're doing. I think your story, your background, it gives weight to what you do,
and your mission.
Stories sell. Delivered in the right way, that's going to bring you a huge amount of I don't mean financial wealth, it's going to bring you a huge amount of wealth in what you do. I think going down the path you're going and wanting to help the people you're wanting to help with your story and your background and your ability and the way you are, I think you're going to be absolutely smashing it, to be honest. And
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm really looking forward to seeing where you go with everything, for sure.
Definitely.
Thank you. I hope to touch lives for sure.
Very good mission, to be honest, that you have over there.
Thank you.
Definitely. Well, we'll make sure there's links around this. Thanks very much. Now, I said this wrong twice now because I was in my head before we started recording. I was like, was it Aprile or April? And I didn't hear it because you went offline. Yeah. How was I supposed to be saying your name this evening?
April, like the month. But I like the way it sounds. It sounds very romantic with Aprile. It sounds very European. I like that.
Yeah, it'll be Aprile in French. Wouldn't it?
French, yeah.
Oh, before we go, can I do a quick mindfulness practice with you guys?
You can do anything you like. Yeah,
Okay, it's called the 16-second method.
Okay.
And this was created by David, David, and then J.I. David, and he brought it to military bases for Marines who came back with PTSD and aggression.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
And it was proven to work. So you can close your eyes or keep them open. Just center yourself.
Okay.
Find stillness. Pay attention to your breathing. And you're going to inhale for the count of 4. So inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold it 4, 3, 2, 1. And then slowly open your eyes. 16 seconds. 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold.
That's a bit creepy because I've just done this today. I've seen it somewhere on Facebook, to be honest.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
I've done it on Facebook a few times.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I've done it basically this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. When I was on the train coming back to UK.
To calm yourself down.
Yeah.
Anytime I start going crazy, my husband's like, take 16 seconds. Just take 16 seconds. I'm like, don't throw my training at me.
A few people around me that will probably tell me to do that, I think, to be fair. So, yeah, I'm going to be getting that thrown at me now, that's for sure.
16 seconds. Take 16 seconds.
It's 1 and 6 to 7 as well. So it's good. It's good work. 16 works for me really well. Definitely. 7's a big thing with me, by the way.
Thank you for that. That was good. That was very good.
I quite liked it. I felt quite good as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how you managed to do that from across the pond, but congratulations.
Thank you.
Skill. That's a sneak peek, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Sneaky peek. Well, listen, April Williams, not Aprile, our extraordinaire this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you check April Williams out, and it's Yomei, YOMEI.org, and you're going to find out all bits and pieces there. If you're watching this, of course, you would have seen that both Adrian and I are in the studio today. If you're listening to this, you would have had no idea until I've just told you now, or at the beginning of the show. Yeah. But very quickly before you go, you've had a stressful couple of days, Adrian. Do you think you can, is that going to help you to calm when you said you've already done it? Yeah.
I think I need to do loads of 16 seconds, to be honest.
Well, listen, if you want to check out everything that is going on the Pivotal Podspective, has been going on over the last month, and what is going to be going on, then you check out Facebook, Essex Business Radio, across pretty well every social media platform, apart from Twitter, which is Essex Biz, BIZZ Radio. YouTube, go over there and subscribe, of course. We go live on here, and we've got other bits and pieces being loaded up as well. It's been a pleasure. Thanks very much for coming to the studio, Adrian.
Thank you, Elliot, for inviting me.
It's been an absolute...
I actually can't invite him myself, but yeah, just friends.
Yeah. Thinking, well, you're not 2 meters apart. Well, yeah, Adrian and I have seen each other recently because we work together at times. So
exactly.
So we're good. We're all good.
We're doing about 5 COVID tests per day anyway, so don't worry. Right.
Yeah, I must test your temperature in a minute. You look a bit peaky, to be honest.
I just remembered about stuff, with the stress, so that's why.
Thanks again, April. It's been wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, don't forget, if you are on the move or you're watching this, and we do know that we've got a few people that are really keen on getting the podcast, the audio podcast, because when they go running and things like that, then go and download the free Essex Business Radio app, available at all good app stores. Thanks very much, guys. Been an absolute pleasure. And so we're going to sign off for now. So I'm going to say ciao for now.
Brown cow.
Have a good one.